Thank you again for having us here today. And it is wonderful to talk to a group so focused on public health, though you have so many other interests, because health lies at the key to our economy and to our own well-being. We didn't talk very much today about how we've learned to connect the dots, we together, about wellness programs. We talked about obesity for kids. I know that state employees have lost over 1,000 pounds collectively because dots were connected, they were rewarded for their behavior. Private industry has found that wellness works because they're self-insured and they can reward employees for doing what we know we should do, but we need that extra incentive sometimes to push us to do exactly the right thing for our health. We have an opportunity facing us with health care. First of all, the costs currently are not sustainable, whether for public health or whether for any kind of health. We have to get the cost of health care down. We do that by focusing on wellness. We do that by taking advantage of the opportunities that are going to be ours, the challenges that are going to be ours after the federal health reforms. We have an opportunity to create a purchasing co-op in this state to make sure that small businesses and self-employed people, the bulk of Maine people, have access to insurance and health care that they can afford. Now, I am one of the luckiest people in the state of Maine because all 4 of my adult kids have come back to Maine. All 4 of my adult kids struggle with health insurance because they too are entrepreneurs with small businesses. And often my son refers to the $400 earache because the deductibles are so high if you're self-employed. We have to change that. We have to have a healthy workforce. We have to create an environment where all Maine people are successful, and the cost of health care is one of the biggest barriers to our coming out of this recession with job growth. I look forward to being your next governor and to lead and work with you in making sure that everyone has access to quality public health.
I'm running for governor, and I will very plainly say, if you believe the state is going in the right direction, you should not vote for me. I'm running for governor because I want to reverse the direction. I want Augusta to become pro-business instead of adversarial to business, which is what we've seen for the last 35 years. Frankly, there are 3 major issues facing the small business climate in Maine. 1, regulatory system. We've become a control system instead of an oversight system. A control system is adversarial. An oversight system is a partnering system. We need to partner with the private sector so they can prosper. We need to address our energy costs in Maine, and we need to address our health care costs in Maine. Quite frankly, the health care cost, the legislature could have resolved that years ago if they had the courage to go to what we can afford. We got Cadillac mandates and a Chevy wallet. We need to have mandates that the people of Maine can afford to buy health care insurance, and it's available. We just don't want to. We need to do some tort reform in this state so that doctors and the pre-screening has to stay in place so doctors can do their jobs every day the way they know they can do it, and we don't have ambulance chasers making a living off the backs of doctors on frivolous lawsuits. Quite frankly, folks, there are 5 things I'm going to bring to Augusta. Common sense, best practices, best technology, and true and proven science. And the 5th one is the best people available to run the agencies.
Thank you, everyone, for coming today. Thank you for inviting us. For me, this is sort of like a family reunion. My wife is here, my brothers are here, my daughter is here. The spirit of my father is here, Melanie's father, my sister-in-law who's not here. I live in a big extended family of physicians and caregivers. And I can tell you that there is not a single day that goes by that I don't hear advice from one or the other of them. And that won't change when I'm in the Blaine House. I would ask you please to take a look at Maine Wellness, which is the program that we developed through hours and hours of work by people involved in your profession, by people who have worked in public health and healthcare in Maine for years. It's a program that focuses not on health insurance as the organizing principle of healthcare, but rather on the relationship between providers and patients is what should be the organizing principle. You can find it on our website at cutler2010.com. I urge you to read it. We said we're not going to build on a bad foundation. We're going to think beyond convention. We're going to try to do what's right for the state of Maine, a state where we desperately need to provide access to essential health care services for every citizen in our state. We need to do it at a price we can afford and that we can sustain, and we need to do it in a way that incentivizes good behavior and good performance. So please take a look at it. I don't care whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or a Green or an Independent. I don't care who you are or where you live or what you do. I want to be your governor. I want to help bring Maine back to greatness. I want to put Dirigo, the state motto, I lead, back into the Blaine House. Thank you all so much for coming. Delighted to see you all. It's nice to be here.
I want to thank you immensely for the opportunity to be here today. I did not have the wherewithal to get that in there right from the get-go, so I'm thanking you now, and this is a great opportunity to speak. I will say this, I'm a problem solver. The future is right here, right now. It's 2010. For how many years have we heard about we need to create jobs, some of the things that were said earlier. We need to have some caring. I'll bring so many things to Augusta. Look at my policy. We're talking about mental health. We're talking about addiction. Something's wrong with the picture here. Let's move together, and let's bring that courage forward. Maine can become a better place, but we need to start moving away from failed political policies of national parties. It doesn't do us any good to bring national Washington, D.C. agendas into Maine. I am the only candidate here who on my website very clearly articulates that I am looking at a Maine-based agenda. Let's solve our problems right here, right now, the best we can as a state. And you know, I'm a business person, and I got to tell you, there's no thing I relish more than challenges, solving problems. You want to talk about courage and being a problem solver? Go out and run for governor as an independent without $1 million. I want to see you do that, okay? I'm right here, right now. I don't want to hear, and we don't want to hear, you don't want to hear, well, 4 more years, we'll get it solved. It's going to take a lot more than 4 years, but it's going to begin in one day, and that day is going to be November 2nd. And I truly hope you'll leave here today and talk with your friends and family and visit my website at mainsbestchoice.com. And I thank you again for the opportunity.
And I want to say thank you. Thank you to all of you for coming. One of you will be governor, and we want to continue to be partners with the administration, whichever one of you is in office. There are many, many opportunities that we have that we can work together, and with these 5 candidates, I feel that we really are in good shape. There's a lot of hope, a lot of drive for prosperity, and I really believe that Maine is going to be in good hands. Thank you all for coming. We do have a few more minutes. I hope that you will stay and answer some questions informally. It's just I think it's really too difficult to be fair for us to ask questions spontaneously.
Thank you, Joe.
Oh, you're welcome. And so we have had Headlight here that's been helping us film this, and we will be putting it up on our website, so you can visit again. Thank you so much.